we're going to kind of open it up to Q&A. I imagine there's questions for Vicki, maybe questions for me and the VividCharts team. So feel free to use either the chat function in the Zoom webinar or the Q&A function, and I'll kind of moderate those and kind of pass them to Vicki or address them if it makes sense for us. Okay, and so Vicki, the first question we got, I think I'll direct to you. So the question was, how do product managers distribute these to stakeholders?
Great question. So we actually launched this version of our status reports in an agile functionality. So we had phase 1, and with what you just saw was our initial launch of our status report. We are getting ready to, next week, we're going to be launching a little bit different version, just a little bit different in the look and feel, just to make it, based on some of our feedback, make it even better to meet the needs of our stakeholders. Along with that, the distribution process, they would generate them and send out, a status report to their key stakeholders. Each of the product managers, after they generated it, they would manually email it out. Starting next week, we are going to be sending out automated status reports. So we have set a time that the status reports need to be generated. End of day Friday, 10 o'clock on Monday, the status reports will be generated, the status report emails. And what we are doing is we have an email template that we created, and based on who is identified as a stakeholder in ServiceNow, they will receive a copy of the status reports for all of the products that they are a stakeholder for. So they'll get, instead of 5 emails, they'll get 1 with 5 status reports or links to the status reports, so that then they can go out and download and use the PDF or PowerPoint that they for the products as they want. So we are looking forward to that and excited about launching that next week.
Awesome. And Vicki, we did have another one come in, and I think this will be, I'll answer part and then I'll kind of prompt you with another part. Can these kind of like that one pager that we saw in the product status report, can these be created for demands as well? So I'll kind of take the first part. Yes, a similar type of format can, and we do see those being created for demands or even other process areas like a major incident summary, failed change summary that kind of summarizes an individual thing that is maybe, using data from a few different areas of the platform. So from a functionality standpoint, yes. But Vicki, I know demand is kind of top of list for you all looking at next year. So I always think, like, in an event like this, it'd be nice to kind of share some knowledge about kind of what you have in the plans for demand next year as an organization, or just kind of share, what are the top priorities for you as a product leader going into next year?
Sure. Yeah, very relevant question. I was in an all-day on-site meeting yesterday about demand management, and we have a list of things that we want to accomplish and be able to communicate about our demands. So absolutely, this one pager is on that list to identify the information about the demands. And we really have benefited from being able to create, a simple, easy to read document. Basically it sits on ServiceNow and generates the view that we want, pulling the information that we need to communicate. So we are planning to leverage VividCharts to enhance our demand management next year. That's our big thing.
Awesome. And then I'm not sure if we'll have any, there's one more question in here. Our organization includes a lot of financial calculations on our reports. So I think they just kind of want to know how we might handle that. And I think I can take that one. So we do see other organizations who, maybe have some projects that are budgeted and they include financial information. So if you think on that one page that we saw for Novant, we've seen financial sections of those, and those can include, just displaying a value that's in the system or putting some math or calculations behind them. So we see that, and then we kind of see, the dynamic of those more hybrid organizations where maybe they have some projects that are budgeted, some that aren't, and having two types of status reports. So a lot of flexibility around that.
The key thing that I've learned or understand is that as long as the data is in ServiceNow, then I think you can make a view of it, right? Isn't that correct?
Absolutely.
You can, yeah. So I think that's the case. I have a question. I think it maybe came directly to me. The question is, our organization runs both Agile and Waterfall projects, so reporting isn't optimized for either. Is that something you've run into? Yes, and actually next week when we launch the individual stakeholder email, we are also introducing going back to a project management status report. So we have the way that we've identified a field that shows whether we want this to reflect a project or a product. And then they look slightly different. They're very similar, but they look slightly different. In our portfolio view, it lists everything, and then when you click through, then you either get the project or the project status report, depending on how we've identified it in ServiceNow. So yes, we ran into that, and we'll be addressing that next week.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. Mm-hmm. Vicki, really appreciate you joining and having such a great conversation with me today. To the audience, we appreciate everybody taking some time out of their day to hear Vicki's story and the Novant Health story. So thanks to everyone who attended, and a special thanks to Vicki for presenting.
Thank you.